The reality you think you know about money is a carefully constructed illusion. And today, I'm going to shatter everything you believe about wealth creation. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to attract money effortlessly, while others work themselves to death and still stay broke? Here's why your financial situation has nothing to do with your actions and everything to do with your frequency. Now, if you're thinking, oh, another manifestation video, this isn't about vision boards or affirmations, but this is about quantum mechanics of wealth creation, the stuff that actually changes your state of being and the 3D reality. Now, by the age of 35, 95% of who we are becomes memorized behaviors, emotional reactions, habits, including our relationship with money. Now think about this. We think about 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day, and 90% of those thoughts are the same as yesterday. And we are literally living in a financial loop. But if you're thinking, hey, I'm special, I think different thoughts about money every day, let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your bank account? What emotions did you feel? And I've been there, where you were. Same emotion, same frequency, same reality. But here's what's interesting. There is an intelligence within us, organizing trillions of functions every second. It's keeping our heart beating, digesting our food, repairing our DNA, all without having to think about it. Now, this same intelligence is what creates wealth, but we are blocking it with our outdated programming. Most people think money is physical, and that is the first mistake. Money, listen carefully, is nothing but frozen frequency or frozen consciousness. Let me prove it to you. When you look at your phone and you look at your bank account, when you see that bank balance, what do you see? Numbers on a screen, right? But what are those numbers really? They are digital representations of energy, simply a resource. Now, your entire bank account is just frequency pretending to be physical. And here's where it gets interesting. And this is important because when you are in survival mode about money, your brain produces stress chemicals that keep you anchored to your past financial reality. Now, your body literally becomes addicted to the emotional state of lack or even scarcity. Think about this. Have you ever noticed when you are broke, like more broke situations come at you? Your car breaks down, you have unexpected bills, you get a fine, everything seems to go wrong at once. Now, that is not bad luck, that is frequency alignment. And I remember when I was in my lowest point financially, 6 figures in debt, living with my parents, every day seemed to bring something new that I needed to pay for, big or small. But here's what I discovered, and this changed everything. I discovered that my nervous system was literally programmed for poverty. I was in debt for about 2 years, and so every time I checked my bank account, my heart would race. My breathing would become shallow. You know what I mean? I would try to avoid it. And my body would be flooded with stress chemicals. I could literally feel the heat my body was producing. I was trapped in what I call the poverty loop. And here's the crazy part. I was actually addicted to it. 2 years of debt, you memorize that, you become that, you start to identify with that. You know what I mean? I was a stress junkie, getting my daily fix of cortisol just by checking my banking app. Crazy, right? If you feel guilty of refreshing your account multiple times a day, you're the same. Come on, I'm not the only one that used to do it. But lock in now, because this is what changed everything for me. And this is where science meets spirituality. Your thoughts about money aren't just thoughts. They are electric signals in your brain creating an electromagnetic field around your body. So you are literally broadcasting your financial frequency into the field. Think about when you are in a state of needing money. You are creating importance. And remember what I said, importance creates separation in the field. The more you need something, the more you are signaling to the field or yourself that you don't have it. It's like being hungry and staring at an empty fridge. The more you stare, the more hungrier you get. The more hungrier you get, the more stressed you become. And the more stressed you become, the more your body moves into survival mode. And in survival mode, oh my God, it is so hard to create. Virtually impossible. You have to work harder, manipulate. You do whatever it takes, right? And that's where most spiritual teachers get wrong. They will tell you to just think positive thoughts about money. It's like putting a band-aid on a broken arm. It might make you feel better in the moment, for a moment, but it's not going to fix that underlying frequency. You see, when you are living in survival mode about money, your brain goes into high beta brainwaves, your heart beats incoherently, and you produce cortisols and adrenaline. Your nervous system becomes dysregulated, and it's hard for you to think. Your frequency becomes locked into scarcity. Now the worst part, this becomes your normal state. Remember what I said, I memorized being in debt. It's because your cells literally modified their receptors to need those stress chemicals, just like a drug addiction. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is what changed my entire financial reality. There are 3 specific frequencies that determine your wealth. Your identity, your money frequency, and your frequency of creation. And no, you don't need crystals to access these frequencies. Let me break these down because this is where everything changes. Your first is your identity frequency. And this is who you believe you are at your core. And here's the thing. Most people's identity is still running on their parents' financial programming, their parents' financial identity. I remember when I caught myself thinking like my dad. I was looking at a Ferrari driving past, and immediately I thought that this person is a drug dealer or a scammer. That wasn't my thought. That was an inherited program running through my nervous system. The interesting part was that the moment I caught that thought, something shifted. I realized that I had been living through someone else's money story, and it wasn't just my dad's. I was carrying generations of poverty consciousness in my nervous system. If you know the history of Philippines, you'll know why. And let me ask you something. When you think about wealth, whose voice do you hear in your head? Is it really yours? Or is it your parents telling you that there's never enough? We can't afford that. You gotta work hard for money. And this is where it gets interesting, and pay very close attention because this changes everything. Your money frequency isn't just one frequency, but it is a mixture of 3 distinct energetic signatures: abundance, certainty, and inevitability. All of those 3 signatures. Think about it like this. When you order food from Uber Eats, you have absolute certainty that it's coming from you, with the exceptions of, some things. You don't sit there wondering if it will manifest. You don't check the app every 30 seconds. Okay, maybe you do, but that's different. The point is you have certainty that your food will come, right? But with money, most people are what I call manifestation anxiety, when they are constantly checking for signs, worrying, trying to figure out how the money is going to come. And here's the thing about the quantum field. It doesn't respond to your wishes, your dreams, your hopes, what you want. It responds to your knowing, your emotional conviction, your confidence, your certainty, your inevitability that it is going to show up. And I want to show you how this works in your nervous system. Because when you are in the frequency of abundance, your brainwaves go from beta to alpha to theta. Your heart increases in coherence. Your magnetic field expands, and then you start attracting things instead of chasing them, and opportunities find you. And I remember when this first clicked for me. I was still in debt, still struggling, but something had shifted internally. Oh man, I still remember this moment. I was sitting in my car, looking at one of the emails that the banks would send me, reminding me of my debt, of course. But instead of feeling panic, I felt peace. Not because anything had changed externally yet, but because I had shifted from survival to creation mode. Now this is where most people get stuck. They try to make this shift without checking while checking their bank account 20 times a day. It's like trying to dry yourself off while standing in the rain or standing in a shower. And you might be thinking about checking your bank account right now. Oh, stop it. Pay attention. Here's what you need to understand about quantum reality. And this is where science meets spirituality. It's going to blow your mind. Your financial reality isn't happening to you. It is happening from you. Every time you check your bank account with anxiety, you are collapsing quantum waves of possibility into particles of scarcity or anxiety about your finances. You are literally observing yourself into poverty. That's why attention is so powerful. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. Your body doesn't know the difference between a real experience and one you are creating by thoughts alone or imagination. This is why two people can have the same amount of money in their bank accounts and create two completely different realities. Now, this is what changed everything for me. And I only usually share this with my clients, but I like you. So there are 3 states of financial consciousness. We've talked about the survival consciousness where most people live. Next there is creation consciousness where manifestation happens. And there is quantum consciousness where wealth becomes inevitable. When I was in debt, I made a discovery that transformed everything. I noticed that every time I received money, my body would want to reject it. Not metaphorically, but literally. My nervous system was programmed to return to poverty. Remember, I was in debt for around 2 years. I actually manifested my way out of debt. And I was in a situation where I had more than enough money. I covered my debt and I had more than enough, right? But I wasted most of it. Because I got out of debt and I was still programmed into poverty. Just like how lottery winners go back to being broke, most of them. Everyone thinks it's because they are bad with money. That's not all. That's not the case. Their nervous system literally could not sustain the new frequency of wealth. And that was what was happening to me. I was investing in useless courses or finding ways to invest that money because I was so scared to go back into poverty. Not realizing that it was that exact fear of actually losing my money which was causing me to lose money fast. And before you ask, you don't need to understand all of the science because your body already knows what to do or how to do it, just like it knows how to digest your food, right? You don't need to read a textbook or watch a YouTube video about digesting your food. It already knows how to do this. Same goes with this. But here's what most people don't understand about frequency. You can't fake it. The universe knows your vibration better than you do. Have you ever noticed how when you are broke and you're trying to act abundant, it feels like you're lying to yourself? That's because you're trying to fool the laws of the universe. Good luck with that. It's like saying, oh, I'm abundant, but you are not abundant. You feel lack or unworthy. It feels like you're lying to yourself. The key isn't to pretend to be abundant. It's about shifting your entire nervous system into a new frequency. And here's what nobody tells you about this shift. It's not comfortable. Same as going to the gym. If you're not feeling resistance, you're not building muscle as fast. The same applies to your wealth frequency. That discomfort you feel, that is your frequency upgrading. Now, I want to share something that will change how you see reality forever. Remember when I said 95% of who we are is just a memorized behaviors and programs? Here's where that becomes important. Your current financial reality is nothing but a printout of your past frequency. Your bank account right now, that's just a receipt of your previous vibration. And here's where it gets interesting. When I finally understood this, I stopped trying to change my bank account and started changing my frequency instead. And something crazy happened. The more I stopped caring about money, the more it started to show up. But, and this is crucial, I wasn't ignoring money. I was transcending my old relationship with money. Big difference. It's like your ex texting you after you stopped caring about him. right? I miss you. I made a mistake. Money starts chasing you when you stop chasing it. But you have to genuinely stop caring, not just pretend. Money can smell for you. Now, here's what's actually happening in the quantum field when you shift your frequency. Every thought you have about money creates an electromagnetic signature. This signature either attracts or repels wealth. But here's the key. It's not about the thought itself. It is about the emotional charge behind that thought. That is why I love emotional conviction. If your thoughts are electrical, sends a signal out, emotions are magnetic, draws it to you. Together they create your money frequency. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to attract money even when they're not trying, while others, they can't manifest $1 with all the vision boards in the world? That's frequency alignment in action. Your relationship with money isn't just about money. It is about your relationship with reality itself. And when you understand this, whoa, everything changes. You stop trying to manipulate reality and start dancing with it instead. So much better. And I know what you're thinking. Okay, but how long does this take? Now, here's the truth. It's not about time. It is about intensity, emotional conviction. Remember that, intensity. My clients can shift their frequency in one moment, instantly, in a moment of complete surrender, while others spend years doing affirmations, sounding like a psychopath and getting nowhere. Remember what I said about chaos earlier. When everything in your financial reality starts falling apart, that is not failure. That is your manifestation working. It is your old frequency dying, so your new one can emerge. But that depends if you're spending carelessly like I was, okay? Now, if you're still here thinking, great, I need to lose everything to get rich. No, that's not what I'm saying. But if you are anything like me, and you need a few cosmic smacks in the faces before you wake up, but I don't ever want that for myself ever again. And for you, honestly. We've had enough of those, don't you think? Here's what most people don't understand or need to understand. And this is so important. This is the most important thing I will say in this entire video. Your current financial reality is just a shadow of your past frequency. But the moment, and I mean the exact moment, you shift your frequency, reality has no choice but to reorganize itself around your new vibration, your new frequency. It is the law. So here's what's really happening when you are trying to manifest money. You're either aligned with wealth consciousness or you're not. You are either vibrating at the frequency of abundance or you're not. You're either allowing wealth or you're blocking it. There is no in between, no maybe, no sometimes. And if you're ready to make this shift permanent, to see where all your blind spots are and learn how to create from your desired reality, I have a few spots this month with a select group of people who are ready for this transformation, and link it in the description. Before I go, wealth isn't something you chase. It's something you become through frequency. And the big question is, are you ready to make that shift? Because once you understand these laws and begin to apply them, you can never go back to the old ways of being. It's going to be right in front of your face when you try to go back. You will never be able to blame circumstances or the economy again. You got to leave victimization behind, because you'll know that you are the creator of your reality. But hey, the choice is yours. You can stay in the 98% who keep living by the hormones of stress, or step into 2% who understand these laws and create reality from their desired state of being. What's it going to be?